During the first match, the startup of the first match, setup of first match, Devon suddenly turned into Matt Mask when it came to cursing. He was cursing the referees, he was cursing Prudnik. And I think the referees kind of deserve that, as we talked about it earlier. What you have followed during the first 14 matches, you cannot suddenly change it in the 15th match. Because Devon was saying that this is a referee's grip. How can he lift his elbow? How can he move? Like, what kind of referee's grip is this? And Devon was absolutely right. But in the referee's mind, it must have been like, well, I haven't fouled anyone yet for moving. Like, I'm not going to foul him now as well. So I think this is
I don't know.
what happened. Why Devon was absolutely pissed off at the referee. But after that, when Devon knew it is kind of okay, he was okay with whatever was happening.
I don't know what was showed on the feed, but Engen came up twice and basically reprimanded both of them. He was basically like, Devon, get off his knuckle, stop pulling back. Evgeny, bring your elbow down, even if you have to pull it down, and let the arm wrestle. He did it like twice. He came up and was just like, enough, you know? I don't know how much they listened, but he
Yeah,
tried.
and it needed to be done because that would have been chaos otherwise. So starting talking about the first round, I still think I watched it in slow motion and I'm like 95% sure that it was a pin. It wasn't called.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. I watched it in slow motion and it was a pin. But it is on. It was really close, so it was on Prudnik as well too. He may have contested that, but I don't think he did. But the best it could have done is that it would have been a 3-1 instead of a 3-0.
Right.
But Devon,
So
man,
I
yeah.
think when Devin open top rolled, like the heel of his hand went under.
Yeah,
I
his
can,
his
I
entire
can,
hand was like this. Like it was as much as you can dump your wrist down. It was like
yeah.
this. So maybe
I know.
even this part was even lower than this. It was like completely down like this when he slipped like that, like that.
I could see that. I could see that. My perspective was low from like right at the stage level.
Yeah,
There was there was no way I could be a deciding factor on any pins, but I could tell that it was pretty deep for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. Yeah. So
But again, that doesn't have an impact
yeah,
on the
of course,
final.
of course.
It's
So
3-1. It doesn't change it. There's no window for winning.
how easy do you think, Paul, is to hook someone like when you have completely gassed his pronation out like Devon did? And another thing about the refereeing is that Devon was in that decline King's move like for at least 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. Then the referees immediately realized that it is a foul and they gave a foul to Devon. But he could have done that as many times as he wanted. He could have taken a foul any day and beat Prudnik easily. And this is completely within the rules. So do you think the hook was as easy as it was for Devon because of the King's move, because of him tiring his wrist out? Like how do you think the match would have gone
Okay,
if they went deep in the first round? Like
so
immediately, not after Devon taking his wrist and then going back in a hook.
I'm not going to say that Devin couldn't have done it, but Devin's hook is like how we talked about the different styles of hooks, right? Devin's hook is like what I would call that European style hook, meaning it's a structure
Joint
driven.
waist. Yeah.
It's a joint. It's completely joint. And Devin has so much flexibility. Like he can get his shoulder so close to his hand. And I know he got warned for having like his shoulder on his hand. He's so flexible. He doesn't have like a huge bicep to get in the way. When he brings his elbow back and has his shoulder forward, he's like immovable. And if you've
Yeah.
ever like pulled with him, but he has to be in that spot. So in order for him to get to that spot, it's a progression. So there's some this, gas him out. At this point, you basically destroyed your opponent's cup, and now you're transitioning back. And now when you tuck in, they have less wrist flexion, and you're already back to the back of the pad.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Could he have initiated that on go? The tricky part about hooking, like with your bone structure, is when you want to initiate it, your elbow has to be forward, right? Devin wants it the whole way back
Yeah.
here. I don't know how comfortable he is in his career right now in being that forward hook where his arm's outside of his shoulder. So I think he's being pseudo conservative as to like when can he get there
Yeah.
and when can he sit and wait there? Because when they were in there, if you look at his face, when Prudnik's surgeon and arm wrestling in there, you can see on his face that there was stress.
Yeah.
And after the match, he even said like that was like he made mention to like the taxation that it put on his body.
Hmm.
So like people were like, "Oh, it's gonna be 3-0 easy." We can call that 3-0 easy in that he was
Yeah.
never really threatened to lose the match,
Yeah.
but it 100% was not easy on
Hmm.
Devin's body at all.
Yeah. So one thing that I got from that match, and I've mentioned it in a couple of videos already, is that Devon top rolled Prudnik, he kings moved Prudnik, he hooked Prudnik, he pressed Prudnik, he did everything in that match. But it wasn't like he was playing around. He needed all of those moves. Like if he
No,
was,
and it's funny.
yeah. If he
It's
was
only if you
missing,
think
if he was missing one of those, he wouldn't have won the match. He needed every single move in almost every single round to beat Prudnik.
well, it's. I said to him after, I was joking. I was like, "Devin, what happened? I thought you were gonna make him pin himself." And he was like, "No." I forget what his exact response was. No, I had to finish those or something like I don't know, like I don't know if it was just that taxing on the body that he felt like he had to finish to be done with it. I'm not sure. You'd have to ask him, but he didn't really make Prudnik pin himself, which to me is a testament to Prudnik.
I think he
Like
pin,
Devin
I think he
doesn't
did pin himself in second round. I think it was.
maybe the second,
Yeah.
but not in the end.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a different thing. And I wanted to
yeah,
ask you about that. Like, what exactly was that move? Prudnik knew that he's getting top rolled. Prudnik knew that he's getting hooked. He cannot do anything in those two moves. So he like kicked back his wrist and started pushing like this. So Devon was not able to top roll and finish him, and he was not able to hook him as well. And it stayed like there for almost 30, 40 seconds. So what exactly was that?
I mean, so we always talk about inversion, like the inversion of your wrist and focusing on pronation is almost like pseudo unhookable. Because how do you really hook somebody when they're like this? So I've never seen it in that instance where somebody was hooked and then he just went like this and said, "Now you can't pin it." But I'm only assuming that he's just inverting to take the hook pressure off and just waiting. But yeah, super interesting. You very rarely see that position in that sequence of events.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I thought like Ermi or not Ermi's. What am I saying? I get those two confused. Evgeny, like he showed like an incredible heart
Yeah.
because you could tell after like the first round, like the energy was just not in his favor. Like like you go to, I guess you go to a cricket match or whatever. Like let's say you're at a cricket match and you got home field advantage and the crowd is just on fire and the energy's electric, like and it's like that feeling of like insurmountable odds.
Yeah.
I can't imagine him not feeling anything other than that. Like he had to feel like this is totally impossible, like from the first setup. But he didn't stop fighting, you know. And you see so many times you see Devin bleed people and break them mentally. I don't think that he was. I think he was frustrated, but I didn't see the guy quit at all. You know,
Yeah.
like we didn't see him pin himself. We didn't see him. You know, so I thought in a loss against Devin, that's about as valiantly as you can perform.
And he must have learned a lot from this match. But one thing that I didn't like much from Prudnik is that I watched a couple of videos where he was explaining why he kind of lost, and he gave some excuses as to why he lost. But I don't think he ever even once said like, yes, Devon was that much strong, Devon was that much technical. First thing that he said that the referee started him like this. His wrist was like this before. I don't know before the start as well. I don't know how much truth there is to that claim. And second of all, it felt like more of a leverage problem, like why he lost.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with Vitali as well. Like he couldn't do anything with Vitali. I think it is more of a leverage problem, and he also mentioned that. And the second thing about the hook is that he said Devon top rolled me, and then when he got back in a hook, like I was like holding him here, so it was not possible for me to do anything in that hook. This is what Prudnik got from as to why he lost that match.
Yeah, I mean, you hear excuses a lot. I guess some of them are valid, and I guess it depends on the person. This to me is like a pet peeve, like point. Um, I don't. There are always reasons that you lose. Most of them are obvious. Some of them are not. They're not. They're not. They're not surface level. Um, they all have validity. It all depends on how you choose to use them. I hear it so much, and I don't even want to say, but like I do hear a lot of times, like I don't want to say like East West or whatever, but like I do hear a lot of excuses. I feel like from the Europeans, like
Yeah.
I don't. Now you hear them everywhere, you know what I mean? But I just feel like it's skewed a little bit that way. I don't know if it's a cultural thing or not, but for me, I choose to never be a slave to those excuses because they won't make an excuse will never make you better.
Yeah.
It will never ever make you better at all. And like I always try to come into a match and say no excuses. Even if there are some things here or there, that's me talking to me. Because if I allow excuses into my head, that's giving myself a permission. It's giving myself like access to a loss. It's giving myself a reason why I don't want to scapegoat. I want my back against the wall. So I don't. There are valid reasons, and maybe those are things that Prudnik is citing. I usually try and keep those valid reasons within close friends because at least then I'm not allowing myself to be a slave to excuses.
Yeah.
So I don't like I didn't hear the post match thing. I'll have to go ahead and look at it. But yeah, I think at this juncture it's best to just give credit where credit's due.
Like
You know?
like Travis Bagent used to say, like, if you lost because I cheated, then what you're going to work on? You're probably just going to hope the next time I don't cheat, and I'm going
Yeah.
to cheat again.
Yeah, or work on cheating better. Like, all right, yeah, he cheated. All right, lesson learned, duly noted. Next time I go to practice, work on cheating or work on defending cheating. Like,
Yeah.
it's you can use it as an excuse or you can use it as a learning experience.